Hi, and welcome to RaceLeague's Track Builder tutorial. In this tutorial, we will go over the features of the Track Builder. Let's get started by opening the settings menu from the bottom left corner. Here, you can adjust the settings of the track, for example, the map size and how the height map is generated. You can also add water and add things such as blueprint to help you guide with the design, smooth the height map, import height maps and import splat maps, which are used for the materials of the terrain. Let's start creating our track by using the road editor. Let's create a new road and add it somewhere by left clicking. You can then just move your mouse elsewhere and click with the left mouse button again to add a node. Then you can hold Ctrl to create curves like this and then just left click. Let's add some more nodes. Now finally, let's complete the track by clicking the loop button on the bottom. Now, as you can see, some of these points are quite crooked. Let's adjust them by selecting them with the right click. Then your mode is automatically changed to move. You can change the mode from the bottom left corner here, or by using the hotkeys. Hold left shift and click any of the buttons. Now you can drag with your left button to adjust. You can also delete nodes by using X or delete. You can add nodes between two nodes just by using the add feature, Shift plus A. And then, if you are close enough between 2 points, it will add a node between them. Next, let's try the height mode. Select a node with right click. Now, while holding Shift, select another node. Now 2 nodes are selected. Now, let's change the mode to height. Press Shift plus F or choose the mode from the left. Now, when you drag with your left mouse, it will raise or lower the track. You can also change the camber or the banking of the road with the camber tool. Press Shift plus T and drag. Now, with such big height differences in the road, we want to set the terrain height to the road. Use the button on the bottom left. And there we go, that's your first road done. Let's lower it a little. And set the height again. We can also use bridges. Let's raise the road a bit. And then select the bridge toggle from the middle. Now we want to also set the height to the road. There we go. That's a bridge done. Then you can also choose different types of textures for the road. Just click here somewhere. That looks good. You can also paint the road. This is often not necessary, but can be useful in some cases. Just choose a material from this menu. Let's choose sand. Now press the paint button on the left. And there you go, now it's painted. This can be useful sometimes, but as I said, it's not necessary. There you go. I'll show you a trick with the road tool. You can raise the road a bit to make these bankings. And then you can just move the road out of the way. Or you can lower the road and make ditches with it. Like so. This can be useful sometimes when you want to create specific height features in your tracks. Let's next go to the terrain painting tool on the bottom left with the brush icon. This is pretty self-explanatory. You can just paint terrain materials here. Let's choose rock, for example. Then you can just paint. And the surface is painted. You can also click somewhere, hold Shift and then click again and it will create a line. You can also play with the hardness and opacity settings. This is useful when you want to blend the materials together. Next, let's move to the height map tool. Here you can modify the height of the terrain with various tools. By default it's set to raise, and when you click somewhere it will raise the terrain. You can also set it to lower, and it will lower the terrain. Smooth smooths out terrain changes. When using the set mode, you must right click somewhere to get its height, and then when you click it will set everything to that height. Like so. You can also change the brush type here. There are various default brushes you can use, or you can choose to import your own brushes. That's it for the height map tool. Let's move to the props tool. Here you can place objects, such as trees, buildings, barriers, curbs, different kind of markers, markings, and decorations. Right-click a prop to select it. Now you can place more of the same types of props if you are in the add mode. If you choose the move mode with Shift plus D, you can now move the prop. With rotate mode you can rotate it, and with scale you can scale it. If you drag with your left mouse, it will create a line of those props. If you choose the brush mode from the left, you can spawn many of the props with single press. You can also delete with this mode by holding Ctrl. Next, let's move to the prop curve tool. Here you can create curves from the props. This is useful with barriers and curves especially. Let's choose a guardrail and click somewhere with the add mode selected. This tool works in the same way as the road tool. Just click to add nodes and hold Ctrl to curve. Now, as you can see, this barrier is facing the wrong way. You can mirror it by pressing the mirror button, like so. Here all the same controls apply. You can rotate it, scale it, delete nodes, and even copy and paste. Copy with Ctrl plus C and paste with Ctrl plus V. This is useful when creating tire barriers next to barriers. Just change the barrier type, like so. There's another useful tool when creating curves. Let's create the new curve and choose the curves category. Now let's change the snapping mode to road. This will snap anything to the road nodes. Just left click and it will create perfectly lined curve. Now again, this is facing the wrong way, just mirror it, like so. Next, let's check the checkpoint tool. Here you can add checkpoints. You need at least 2 checkpoints for properly working track. Let's add a start-finish line. Just make sure that the checkpoint is enabled and you are in the add mode. Then just left click somewhere and click somewhere else. Make sure that your checkpoints are wide enough so there's no way a player can miss a checkpoint. If a player misses a checkpoint, their lap will not count. Let's add another checkpoint. Now, as you can see on the right, our first validation point is met. We have 2 checkpoints or more. You need to make sure that all of these 4 points are met before you can upload your track to the database. Let's try the penalty mode next. When a player drives through the penalty checkpoint, they will get a slowdown penalty and their lap time will be invalidated. There's also a joker checkpoint, which is useful for rallycross tracks. You can add as many joker checkpoints as you want, but make sure they are in order, because they have to be passed in order for the joker lap to count. When racing in multiplayer and there's joker checkpoints in track, 1 joker lap has to be completed if you don't want to get disqualified. There's also pit checkpoints. These are useful when creating pit lanes. First checkpoint is pit entry. and the second checkpoint is pit exit. When hitting the pit entry checkpoint, your pit limiter will be enabled automatically, and when hitting the pit exit checkpoint, your pit limiter will be disabled automatically. Now, we still need some props where our car can spawn onto. Let's add them right behind the start-finish line. They are found in the markings category. They are single grid spots, and these props with 20 grid spots. Let's only add one for now, and let's rotate it to face the correct way. When you have 20 of these, the 20 plus grid spots validation will be enabled. Same goes for the 20 plus bit boxes. You need to add 20 bit boxes for your track to be valid for the database. Now let's try our track out. Just click the test try button. It tells you to try 2 clean laps in order to track the track to be validated. Well, you get the point. I suggest that you create a few training tracks first before submitting anything to the database. Speaking of that, let's save this track. You can do it from the top left corner or pressing Ctrl plus S. Your track is now saved. You will get some warnings about the track not being fully valid, but you don't have to worry about them just now. Just have fun. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial. I hope you have fun in the editor.